Hello and welcome to 18 WJTS in.form. I'm your host, Bill Potter. Joining us is Mark Doud. Mark is an account manager with the IHCDA, which stands for Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority. I had to look that up because it's quite a title. Mark, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Well, I guess really the first thing to get things started, what is the IHCDA? There's probably a shorter way to say it than IHCDA.
Well, I usually just tell people I work for Indiana Housing. And what the Indiana Housing, the agency itself is, it kind of looks at all facets of housing in the state of Indiana and has programs in there to help people either, in our case, become homeowners, people maybe who are homeowners need a little assistance with energy assistance or weatherization, help in that regard. And then there's federal programs that the state administers related to housing as well.
Now, the IHCDA started running public service announcements about a year ago or so, and we run them here on 18 WJTS. Why did your agency decide to start doing that, and what's the purpose of doing that?
Well, first, the purpose for it is just to educate more people that there are programs out there, are programs that help people become homeowners. Our biggest obstacle with getting more people to use these programs is just educating them that there are programs out there to help people. There's a lot of people who are renting that are paying as much or more to pay rent when they could be homeowners, and our programs help them specifically with down payment assistance so that once they've got that down payment lined up, then they can continue making, instead of monthly rental payments, they can be making mortgage payments, and which helps them, build wealth and build equity into a financial asset.
Now, you talk about folks getting into the program. What are the qualifications? I'm sure there are.
There are. These programs, of course, aren't meant for people who don't really need the assistance, but there's two main things we look at for people who want to use our programs. That's income. They have to meet a certain income limit, so they can't exceed a given income in whatever county they're in, and the income numbers vary by county. Okay. As far as what that income limit is. And then the other thing that we look at is a credit score. We have to make sure that they're at a credit score where if you get a credit score that's too low, then that can lead to a higher default rate, and we want to make sure these programs are stable so as many people can use them as possible.
Now, what are some of the unique features of the programs, or you've got different programs, I'm sure, then what are the unique features for them?
Well, the most unique feature, the most popular program we have is the one, as I mentioned a minute ago, is the down payment assistance. For many Hoosiers, coming up with several thousands of dollars to bring to the closing table when they close on a mortgage is just an obstacle that they just can't meet. They don't have that kind of money sitting around in their bank, and maybe they can't find a relative that might be able to gift it to them. So we have the authority to provide that down payment assistance to them, depending on what type of loan or what type of financing they're going to use. They can use FHA financing. In that case, they would need to bring 3.5% of the purchase price to the closing table. We would gift that to them as a down payment assistance. If they go with a conventional loan that we offer, it's what's called a loan to value 97%, meaning they have to bring 3% to the closing table. In either case, we provide that amount of money so that that obstacle is removed as far as them becoming a homeowner. And then beyond that, they just have to qualify for a loan and be underwritten, financially underwritten. And that's something that a professional lender is going to do for them, the local bank or a mortgage lender. The applicant still has to be underwritten and still has to kind of pass the mustard of that process. But if they do that, then we can provide that down payment assistance.
So you're going to have to work with lenders.
Yes.
How do they find a lender? And does everybody who offers lending, do all banks, credit unions offer this, or is this a little limited?
It is. It's limited to the lenders themselves have to apply to become a participating lender with Indiana Housing, and it's not a major feat for them to become a member. They have to have what's called a warehouse line of credit. They have to be able to service a loan for a month or two before the loan gets serviced by another entity. So it's not hard for a lender to become a participating lender. We have about 95 participating lenders statewide throughout Indiana. Some banks, a fair number of mortgage lenders, they're usually located in larger cities. I know for here in Jasper, Indiana, we have 2 lenders that are participating lenders. German American carries a couple of our products, as does Old National Bank. And then, of course, there's mortgage lenders that service this area from either Evansville or Bloomington, or maybe even over near Louisville and New Albany.
Do they, before they would go into one of those banks, is there something that the folks who are wanting to lend, to get a mortgage, is there something they need to do first, or can they go to, say, the bank and say, look, I heard of this thing called IHCDA or help in that way? And is that the way to get the ball rolling for them? Because some of that may be just that first step,
yes.
and if it seems like it's too much to do, they don't do it.
Yeah, that's the one of the biggest questions I often get from just Joe person on the street who hears about the programs is like, how do I get started? They're not sure if they go to the realtor, they go to the bank, they call our office. The best way for them to get the process started, and even to find out if they would qualify, of course, is to first look at our website. And they can do that by just going to homeownership.in.gov. And on our website, they can look at a list of participating lenders and find out a lender that's close to where they live, based on what county they live in. But they'll want to work with that lender then, because the lender's going to either pre-approve them or pre-qualify them to make sure that they are financially ready to be homeowners. We're not interested in putting anyone in a home prematurely if they're financially not set to do that, because that doesn't help them out, doesn't help the lending institution out, or the realtor. They're involved in this process as well, as far as telling people these programs are there. So we want to make sure these people are financially ready to be homeowners. But then they'll work with the lender exclusively to provide the documentation that they need to go through the credit underwriting process. The lender's going to help them decide which mortgage product is best for them. And in some cases, our products may not be best for a particular borrower. Maybe a different USDA has a mortgage product that might be better for them. Or maybe they have a program within their bank themselves that might be better for them. So it's really the mortgage lender or the bank mortgage officer to determine which program is best for them.
Sounds like really, in a way, you're kind of a catalyst to help somebody get out of that situation they're in where they're just renting and want to do a homeowner. You're just like, we're going to give you that boost.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. I mean, if they've been renting for several years, they're probably going to, unless they're just not good with money at all, they're probably going to be well positioned to be eligible to own a home. But like I said before, with the down payment assistance program, and that's just one of the programs we have, this gives them that extra $1,000 to make them a homeowner. It's a great program. People just don't know enough about it.
What's the advantage of being a homeowner?
Well, the biggest thing for homeowners is that you get to build equity into a financial asset, your home, that's going to, in most cases, going to appreciate over time. As you make more payments, you live in the home longer, you care for that home, that home is going to appreciate in value. And there's not too many assets out there, that you can purchase that appreciate in value, other than financial instruments and things. But you buy a brand new car, that's not going to appreciate typically over the life of that car. Home, that's different. It's something that allows them to establish themselves. And the reason why the state's interested in home ownership, of course, is that it helps stabilize communities. When you have more homeowners in a community, that adds economic activity to a community in ways that other forms of housing don't. And there's nothing wrong with renting if that's where a person's at and they need to do that, or if they live in public housing, there's the need for that as well. But we're just saying we'd like to see more homeowners throughout the state of Indiana, and these are the programs that can hopefully help people become homeowners.
I would imagine, just hearing you talk about this program, that most people are younger, probably not established yet in their finances. maybe haven't had the experience of home ownership. So is there some education that's available to help people learn more?
Yes, there's a lot of different home buyer or home ownership education programs out there. We offer one at our website. It's called Framework, that takes people through a webinar-based course, so they can kind of take it on their own time. They don't have to drive somewhere to a class and sit in a classroom setting. But they do have to prove that they've taken the class. And we will, if they take this Framework program, we will reimburse them the cost of that course. It's only $75, but it's another way of helping a new home buyer out, because there's a lot of different fees that you have to go through and pay for when you're purchasing and buying a house. But we will reimburse them for that. And so it goes through someone who's new and maybe has been renting a long time, or just maybe out of college, and they're thinking, well, why should I rent when maybe I could just go ahead and buy? It just goes through the process of being a homeowner, how to care for a home, make sure your home's well maintained. The actual process of buying a home, there's a lot to learn in that process as well. So that kind of covers really the good basic things that you'd want someone to know who maybe is a first-time home buyer.
There's a lot of challenges to being a home buyer or a homeowner,
Yes.
but there's also, I'm sure, challenges being a first-time home buyer.
Indeed.
What are some of those?
Well, from my experience, both one time as a first-time home buyer and also being in this position, is a lot of times people just don't know really what that process is, and there is a lot of documentation that you have to bring to a credit underwriting process, because they're loaning that person ultimately a lot of money to become a homeowner. It's not like they're loaning them to buy a used car or something like that. So you got to do it right. You've got to kind of jump through the hoops and things like that. But like anything else, the more you do it, the more familiar you become with it. And so it's a process that's important and has to be worked through, but it's not insurmountable. And so people who maybe don't think they could ever go through that process, they ought to at least inquire and find out, maybe their credit history isn't quite up to snuff yet, as far as having a credit score at a level where they could use our programs or any other mortgage program. There are some lenders out there that will help coach them as to what they need to do to raise their credit score. So even that is at a minimal level can be helpful to a consumer who's looking to buy a house, but also maybe looking to do some other financial investments.
So if someone's watching right now, or maybe someone watching knows of someone who could use this program, what do you suggest they do? Do they need to go online and check some things, make some phone calls?
I would certainly refer them to our website. Again, that's homeownership, all one word, homeownership.in for state of Indiana.gov, homeownership.in.gov. Look over our website. It's very easy to understand if you're on our website. Everything's organized according to home buyer, lender, and realtor. So they should be able to find what information they're looking for. But that's probably the best thing to do. And then once they kind of look over the programs and realize, hey, there's a program out there that can help me with down payment assistance. We also have a program that helps people with a tax credit. They can receive tax credit when they purchase a home against any federal tax liabilities. So that might be something that would be helpful to an existing homeowner who maybe wants to buy another house. Maybe they need a bigger house, or they're moving across the county, or moving to a different part of the state of Indiana. So there's different programs out there. It's not all just down payment assistance. But that would be the best way, is just to go to our website and see what's there. And then once they've looked it over a little bit, then definitely if they have an inkling that this is a program that could be beneficial to them in the buying a home or learning more about the home buying process, by all means, then talk to a mortgage lender or go to their bank and find out more about the home buying process. And again, they can use one of our participating lenders, but even if they don't use one of our participating lenders, but they just want to know more about the home buying process, go to a local bank, and I'm sure the mortgage people would be glad to meet with them. But we definitely do recommend people use our website to find participating lenders that live or work near, have offices near where they live and where they work. So
I would imagine for a lot of people, it may be that first step. They're afraid to go and ask for help, or they feel like they're asking for help. And the one thing is, this is not a handout, this is a hand up.
it is.
And so I guess the first thing, you know, your website is not intrusive. You can just go there and look.
Yeah, you can be pretty anonymous by looking that over. And our programs, again, they're our down payment assistance programs. We have two different down payment programs. One is you can go with either FHA financing we talked about earlier, or conventional, either way. It can be used for both existing homeowners and, of course, first-time home buyers. You can put this tax credit benefit on this down payment program. It's called Next Home if they do go to our website. The one I'm talking about now is called Next Home. So it can be used with the MCC, but they do have to be a first-time home buyer in that case. And then our other down payment assistance program is intended just for first-time home buyers. So someone who might already be in a home couldn't use that program. There is a stipulation, though. There's certain counties in Indiana that are what we call targeted counties. So if the state and federal government's trying to generate more economic activity in those counties, then they will classify them as targeted counties. And in a targeted county, if you are an existing homeowner, you could still use all of our products, even products that are intended to help just first-time home buyers, because the state and the federal governments want to encourage more economic activity and more home ownership in those targeted counties. So even existing homeowners in some counties can still use all of our products as an existing homeowner, and still get down payment assistance, still use the tax credit benefit and things like that. So it's not just for first-time home buyers. Again, the income limits will still apply in all the counties. That's never waived. That's one of the requirements we have to check for, and credit scores. But if they meet those two criteria, then they should be eligible to use many, if not all, of our programs.
Well, Mark, thank you very much for coming in. I think probably the one thing is just look it up. Just find out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, you don't know. What you don't know, you can't help yourself with.
Yes. And
homeowners.in.gov.
yes.
Okay.
All one word.
All one word.
So, if they go to IHCDA.in.gov, they would just need to look for a link that says home ownership, and that will get them to the specific site that has just the information on our home ownership programs.
Excellent. Mark, thank you very much for coming in.
All right, thank you.
Our guest has been Mark Doud. He is an account manager with the IHCDA.
That's great.
It's Indiana Housing, probably the easiest way to remember. Mark, thanks very much.
Yes.
Thank you for watching WJTS. We are local people watching local people.